The Frozen North, Episode 17, our top 5 games from 2013.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Frozen North. We are here. We're ready to talk about some games on this cold winter's day.
It's still snowing, I believe.
It is snowing, it's cold, and darn it, I wish it would go away, honestly.
Mark is defiling an M&M's bag while we speak.
I'm trying to eat them quietly.
Solid. If it's your first time with us, welcome. We're the Frozen North Gaming Podcast. We talk about story-focused gaming, both old and new, and just anything we like, basically.
Absolutely.
My name is JJ. I'm the creator / one of the hosts, and I'm here with my two buddies. First up, we got Mark.
Howdy, y'all! My name's Mark, as you know, and we're changing things up, and it's making me nervous.
It's confusing.
I want to see you do that one time without laughing in the middle.
I don't know if I can do that.
I don't know if you can either. So, but you know what? Something to shoot for.
Yeah. Okay.
And also, we got Brian.
Hey, guys. Brian here. Been playing a lot of games. That's my life, I guess. I work and play games.
Intro of the year right there.
Yep.
Spectacular.
I don't know. I'm letting everybody know it.
Oh, my
hey,
goodness.
guys, I'm a gamer.
A gamer?
I'm a gamer. I like to play
is
the
that
game.
a camel that plays games?
It is. Absolutely. That's a solid analogy there, sir.
I've been really, can I say something? I've been really plowing through my backlog. Like, really good.
I don't think you could have made that sound dirtier if you tried.
Yeah, that's
to be honest.
I really had to hold
probably
back
could
the
have.
jokes.
Don't tempt me. I probably could have made that a lot dirtier. So let's.
Well, then why don't you go ahead and tell us about it? What you been playing?
Okay, so I recently beat Batman Arkham Origins on the computer. It was a beautiful game. Very fun. I love the whole series. Still working on Xenogears. Made it to the dreaded D-Block sewers, where I have been psyching myself up. I've heard stories. Apparently, JJ, you don't find it too difficult.
I don't like, and I've seen exactly what you have on the internet. People get the dreaded sewers with red rum, and it's so hard and everything like that. I really don't remember it being that tough, and I've done it several times.
I should just video game man up and just beat it.
Just do it. Go through it. What do you think of Rico so far? I guess you've only had him for like 15 minutes, so
right.
really, yeah.
I mean, he beat my butt at the very beginning, so
he's like 8 times your size.
Yeah. So I mean, other than that, he kind of reminds me of the typical brute guy in all JRPGs that comes in. He's like, I just want to fight, So far, I don't have much. He's not very deep yet, but I haven't, like I said, you haven't had him very long.
Understandable.
Also, still trying to get through Killzone 1. But I just got a new TV for my living room, so I don't have to play that in our bedroom anymore, so I'll have more time to get through PlayStation 3 games.
More Brian intricacies.
Yeah, so just so you know. But also, I started playing Dust and Elysium Tale. Very good so far. A side-scroller, so JJ hates side-scrollers. Everybody... JJ hates Mario.
I don't hate side-scrollers.
He hates silent films, too, he told me.
I don't feel that they are... the future. They feel very, very like I love playing old school games. I will go back and play Mega Man till the sun goes down, but I don't want a new one like that.
Elysium Tale has got an amazing story, excellent cutscenes.
I did look on Steam, and I've looked at videos for it. It actually does look very, very cool.
It's quite fun, but it is definitely a side scroller. It's I kind of liken it more to Metroidvania style. You kind of have a little freedom to go.
It's just one giant map.
There are several one giant maps in the game. You kind of there's a world map.
Several one giant.
Let me
maps.
explain. There's a world map that you can teleport to. It's not like a world map like but it's like got the dots that have the different worlds. A lot like Mario 3, things like that.
Okay. Right, I gotcha.
But good story so far. Beautiful art in that game. So yeah, that's what I've been playing.
Right.
Yeah.
Mark, how about you?
Been playing Zelda, Link Between Worlds. I beat that midweek. And last night I just played through The Wolf Among Us Episode 2, which came out this week, I think.
Did you like it?
It was excellent.
I haven't even played the first
Really
one yet. I
startling.
own it, but I haven't tried it yet.
It's pretty awesome. It's very, while it looks the same artistically as The Walking Dead, and it kind of plays the same, it's completely different the way it's presented to you. The plot, stuff like that.
Is there a lot of, like, do you get to a point where, like in Walking Dead, there was a lot of points where I was like, I would watch the cutscenes and everything, and then when it came to me having to actually play and do something, it felt like a chore. Is it like that?
It might be.
Yeah.
It's still the same, game design.
I mean, it was still very good.
But it's not as much life or death as
Okay.
The Walking Dead. It's more you're a detective trying to solve a certain crime.
Okay.
Very cool.
But it's a very dark noir feeling to it. And I've also played just a smidge of Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, very, very small smidge. I
Yes.
saw you on there like the first couple of days like crazy, and then nothing.
Yeah,
Not
got
to,
busy.
Not to pick on my bearded buddy over here, but can we get some sort of sound effect in this show for anytime Mark actually admits to beating a game, like a cheering section, and then like maybe
I second that. Because then
Like-
maybe you'll notice that I do beat games.
yeah.
Actually, you know what? Yeah, that's a good idea because I'll never have to do it.
Because he said I beat
He's
Zelda.
just staring at me
You know,
like,
I beat Zelda. I'm picturing like an explosion with crowds cheering and like you can hear confetti. I know you can't see it, it's it's a podcast, but something like really epic. Like maybe
every time Mark beats a game, it's like he levels up.
maybe like an overture of some sort.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Look on his face.
Oh.
Oh. I have been playing. Is that it? Is that it?
Yeah.
All right then. I've been also playing Link Between Worlds. I just beat it 2 days ago, and we'll talk about it a little later today. But let me just say I loved it. Great old school feel.
Hey, you would have had to play that sound effect twice in that last speech I just gave.
Give me that.
So, there you have it.
Oh,
Whoa!
Well, maybe that's the sound effect I'll use. That little.
Please.
Okay. But beyond that, I've been playing again Final Fantasy 14. I played with the girls from Terra and Lightning's RPG Roundup.
Right on.
I transferred over there because none of my friends play anymore. You guys are jerks.
I plan on playing once my backlog is not like 90 games.
You say
I
that
never
kind of stuff
plan
all
on-
the time.
I never plan on playing again.
I have no
so
doubt.
Yeah.
Don't ever expect
If
me.
you play that, then I'll get a sound effect in there.
I can live without the sound effect.
I figured. But no, I mean it's not like we haven't like gone on any like huge dungeons or done anything major and like that. But it's just nice to have people that that you can talk to and stuff. And I
Yeah.
mean, obviously we have the podcast and games in common. So we just the other night we were on and we were just talking about games and the show, and it was just a good time. It just keeps things interesting when you have people you can communicate with while
Absolutely.
you're doing monotonous stuff on there. So it was cool. Other than that, though, really not much else. It's been just a lot of work and that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
with all this snow, I really was just buckling down on Zelda. So I was kind of just in the house throwing down on that.
You did
So-
not regret that, I assume.
No, I didn't. I didn't think I was going to beat it, though. I didn't think I had enough time because I started late. I started
Gotcha.
earlier this week. So, but it really wasn't that long of a game.
Yeah.
No, it's
It kinda
a
deceives you at
surprisingly
first.
it's a
Yeah.
surprisingly short Zelda game. You're like, oh, it's got the typical Zelda format, but you find out some nuances there that
Yep.
we'll get into.
Yeah. Well, all right then. Why don't we head over to Brian with news?
Hey, news! It's a news time. I don't know why I said that in a Italian accent, but
I don't either.
You
just
got
I
some
did.
Mario news?
Maybe because we're going out for Italian after we leave here.
Hey, and we got Pasta Fiend sitting next to us.
That's true.
Shh, don't tell people that.
Okay, I'm sorry. Anyway, our first bit of news is
Oh! I've been playing Hearthstone too, like crazy.
Ooh.
Awesome, love it. Awesome,
Does it count as
fantastic.
playing?
wait,
if I
wait,
installed
wait.
it?
Hold on, Mark. I'm gonna love this. What's your KDR, bro?
There is no KDR.
What's
on
your
Hearthstone.
ranking, bro?
20,
Bro gamer.
almost 23.
Bro gamer.
Brian, you backstabbed me in the last segment, so I'm not going to back you up here.
How did I backstab you?
You're calling me out, man, about not beating games.
But do you beat
What was that?
games?
Yes.
On-
I
on-
beat
at a clip.
53% of games.
That's better than 23%. Am I right?
That's true.
Oh, all right. Anyway, our first bit of the news: Star Wars: The Old Republic MMO will receive 2 expansions this year, which is a pretty good clip for most MMOs. It seems that BioWare, EA's colossal, at least financially, MMORPG, is slowly picking up. As the game went free to play following a great launch but mediocre early stage, it has become increasingly profitable, which is I think is good news. I don't know about you guys, but it is a free-to-play game now that's actually starting to pick up some steam.
It is, but you may as well pay for it. Have you tried to go back to it since it went free-to-play?
No.
You get 2 characters. That's it. So, like, when I was paying for it, I had my one character that was max level and everything, and I had, 5 other ones that I made.
And you have to pay for new
Wouldn't
characters.
even let me play until I knocked it down to 2 characters. Like,
boy.
It was like, come on.
Well, there's going to be another space combat expansion and another similar to the Rise of the Hutt cartel that's already been out. But that's pretty good news. I liked seeing that. That game was fun. They did have some issues with end game at first, but it looks like they're starting to pull that out. Our next bit of news is Amazon buys the Killer Instinct developer Double Helix. We're starting to see this a lot. A lot of these digital companies are starting to buy up game developers, which I assume is to start the tablet/iOS explosion. That's kind of what
it's Amazon that bought them, so they have their Kindle Fire
and that's exactly
version
right.
of Android that nobody wants to deal with.
That's exactly right. That's kind of what I figure, and that there's another bit of news at the end that we'll go over that's got similar flavor to it involving Nintendo, but
right.
Yep, so it looks like they're going to be an Amazon-owned gaming company, which you can assume they're going to come out with a lot of mobile gaming IPs in the future. Metal Gear Ground Zeroes. The rumor is it's only 2 hours long. Now, keep in mind this is kind of pre-DLC to Metal Gear Solid 5. But a 2-hour campaign?
How much does it cost?
I think it's like $30.
Woo! Yeah.
Yep. I don't know. That's the rumor. I don't know what it's exactly going to cost, but
You'll probably still get it anyways, won't you?
yes. But it's still disappointing that it's only 2 hours long. Metal Gear Solid creator Hideo Kojima has spoken out to defend the length of Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes after it was controversially revealed that a single playthrough might only last 2 hours. Writing on Twitter, Kojima explained that the game has a handful of side missions, and because it's non-linear, he said he expects people to complete multiple playthroughs, which basically he just admitted that it is short.
But, I mean, to me, that also sounds like it's kind of like Mass Effect, where you've got,
Yes.
if you were to play just the regular missions, that game would be short, too.
And keep in mind here, we're not actually talking about Metal Gear Solid 5. This is just the pre-DLC thing coming out for it. So, we can kind of give it a bit of a pass.
$30 though, that just seems
high. Hopefully it's $15.99. I'm hoping that's the clip it comes out at, but you never know. Our next bit of news is now this may sound a little redundant from what we talked about last week, but PS1 and PS2 games are heading to the PlayStation 4. Now you may say, "Hey Brian, we already talked about that. PlayStation Now." No. We're not talking about streaming. We are actually talking about the actual platform running these games, a la how it works with the Vita. Let me go into a little bit.
It's a software emulation, essentially.
Correct. Backwards compatibility is coming to PlayStation 4. And PlayStation Now is only part of the story. A well-placed source working with Sony's streaming service reveals that only PlayStation 3 titles are currently scheduled to use the Gameplay over IP, which is the streaming service. PS1 and PS2 titles are set to follow the more conventional route of running locally under emulation on Sony's latest console. Big news for Sony fans. As we all know that running things locally, we're going to have no input lag. There's going to be no issues with, my internet's down, I can't play this game. Sony's use of emulation as opposed to PlayStation Now streaming is an interesting decision, and the right one for the enthusiast gamers. Running code locally provides a superior experience in terms of both input latency and image quality. Basically what I just said, that's awesome, if that's true. Think about it. We're told these systems aren't going to be backwards compatible, and now Sony's like, no, we're going to put stuff in place, and they've actually found that the software is and the hardware is already in the PlayStation 4. They're just trying to get it up and running. So that's cool.
That's such good news. One of the biggest things that I miss from newer consoles is backwards compatibility.
Absolutely.
And I'm just so glad to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
I wish, perfect example, my Wii. My Wii could play GameCube games, which was awesome. My Wii U can play Wii games, which is awesome, but my Wii U can't play GameCube games now.
Exactly. So now you're losing.
I mean, I've still got my GameCube and my Wii, but it's like,
Yeah.
You
just
have an all-in-one.
do it
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
You know, yeah.
Here's another little bit of a tidbit. This is more of a go over there and check it out. IGN has a show called Game Scoop. They do it every now and then. I don't usually like a lot of their content, but I actually watched this one. It's about 30 minutes long, and they go over all the biggest RPGs coming out in 2014. Oh, man, did that get me excited for 2014 as an RPG gamer. They go through things like The Witcher. I think they spoke a little bit on like the remake of Final Fantasy X. They talked about Bravely Default. They talked about Dragon Age Inquisition. Really pumped me up for it. So go over to IGN and check that video out if you are a really big RPG enthusiast. You'll get really excited for 2014.
Solid.
Activision has come out saying that Destiny will be the best-selling new video game IP in history.
We'll see about that.
Yeah, and that's what I'm. It's if this was like a different company saying it, I would be like, okay. And seeing if it can topple Grand Theft Auto 5 is going to be a feat in itself. However, I am excited about Destiny, and I put this article in here to.
But they're not saying first day sales are going to be.
They're saying overall.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's maybe.
Activision is betting big on Bungie when Destiny ships later this year, their newest game since the release of Halo Reach in 2010. In a conference call, Activision boss Bobby Kotick expects Destiny to be poised as the best-selling video game IP in history.
I'm going to interrupt you. I just read the sentence, and it will be. Best-selling new video game IP.
Yeah, so he set it up to not.
So, I mean, GTA 5 is not even eligible for that contest.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
But I'm excited for Destiny, so I can get excited about statements like that. I'm definitely going to be purchasing it with my PlayStation 4 at the same time. Our next, also sticking in the PlayStation era, the Order 1886. The news is that it is a strictly single player game. There's not going to be tacked on multiplayer, which I personally love. I don't mind multiplayer games, but I feel like they should be separated out. I don't like when game companies feel like they have to tack on multiplayer. It takes away from, I think, the development of the first player experience.
What do you mean separated out?
Meaning, if you want to come out with a, like, let's say Uncharted, for example, even though that's great multiplayer, The Last of Us as well, even though that's first single player game, I feel like it didn't need the multiplayer. And if they wanted to, maybe develop it later as a DLC package, but focus strictly on the single player campaign, and then later, or do the opposite. Be like, hey, this is going to be like a Counter-Strike. It's only online. Develop it for that.
Yeah, I don't like that though.
How come?
Because what if I want to play the single player game, but all it is multiplayer? What if I'm like, oh man, this game would be sweet as a single player experience? Like I've always thought that about Counter-Strike. I love the mechanics and I love the way that the game is set up and all that stuff, but you can't unless you want to just play against bots. There's really not a single player experience.
I just like companies coming out and saying, "Hey, this is going to be a single player game, and we are putting all of our resources into that."
I understand,
and
I think your DLC idea is kind of cool. But then again, you've got people who want to play for the multiplayer.
Exactly.
So
I just, for me personally, I like gaming companies saying, "This is what our game is. We're not apologizing for it," and that's basically what they are doing with 1886: The Order, which also looks very, very fun. So PlayStation 4 is looking up. Our next order of business is this will be JJ's. I put this in there because it looks like a great game, and it's also a little jab at JJ. But Ubisoft's RPG Child of Light gets a new trailer and a release date. The game looks amazing if you haven't seen it yet. Ubisoft's beautiful 2D side-scrolling JJ.
Believe it or not, I have been following this game since it was first announced.
But it's
already.
side-scrolling.
I know, but it looks awesome.
It does. It looks amazing. If you don't know about it, Ubisoft's kind of going a little throwback with it. It's going to be obviously it's going to be new, but it's going to have a very JRPG flavor to it. It's turn-based combat. It'll be out on April 30th. It'll be out for the PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Xbox 360, the Xbone, the Wii U, and PC, obviously on Steam. It'll be $14.99. So, and this is a big-time company developing it too. So, if you're worried about, oh no, it's going to be cheap, no, Ubisoft this is their baby. Child of Light is described as a classic RPG inspired by JRPG titles featuring turn-based combat, over 200 skills to learn, 600 crafting combinations, It is going to be developed by Ubisoft Montreal and built with an UbiArt framework. Guys, I'm excited. It looks really good. Okay, our next bit of business is Nintendo has come out. These next two are going to be Nintendo focused. Nintendo admits a merger is possible. And will Apple
Wow. I didn't see that one.
Will Apple fancy the piece of Nintendo? This kind of goes into the whole acquisition that Amazon did with Double Helix, I'm sorry. I think that they're going to be trying to maybe push a deal with Nintendo, maybe get some Nintendo brand IPs for the...
I could see them doing like old school, like Mario Brothers 3 on your, iPhone or whatever.
Absolutely.
So,
mobile gaming becoming a real monster lately.
it's unfortunate.
And for Nintendo, that is not... Whenever you're struggling enough to be talking about merging, I don't like it.
They've always been a pretty frank company, though.
Yeah, but frank with like, hey, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do it our way. Not, we might have to go ahead and.
Well, times are changing. Nintendo's not.
Right.
That's their problem.
Exactly. So. Touche. Nintendo, however, did come out with a bit of good news. They are actually going to be putting some DS games on the Wii U Virtual Console. Unfortunately, we don't know which ones, but I think that's a good step to getting the Wii U a bigger appeal, I guess you should say.
Yep.
At Nintendo's financial results meeting, the Nintendo president Satoru Iwata announced the company is planning to bring Nintendo DS games to the Wii U. Iwata did not reveal which DS titles would be playable, although he highlighted how good the popular DS title Brain Age might look on a gamepad screen in a presentation slide.
And JJ is rolling his eyes.
Yeah.
I had first heard about this on the RPG cast from RP Gamer, and they were saying it bringing DS games to the Wii U would work pretty well because you've got your main screen up top and you've got the bottom screen.
It works the
in
same way,
handheld,
right?
So I think that'd be cool.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So there's our news.
Yeah. Hey guys.
All right.
Solid.
Now it's time for the spotlight.
Spotlight.
And this week
This is a good one.
I'm bringing a game specifically for Brian, because Brian has recently ruffled feathers with us by complaining about how he doesn't like Lord of the Rings and a lot of JRPGs, classic.
In his defense, he didn't
The
say
Elder
he
Scrolls.
didn't like Lord of the Rings. He said
Okay.
he was just tired of them using the same skins
Right.
over and over again.
Yes.
He said he doesn't like how fantasy settings are all the same. His words, not mine.
Yes, I did say that.
So if you have any hate mail for him, go ahead and send it to our email. We'll forward it to him. So we're looking at a game called Kingdom Come Deliverance right now. It's by Warhorse Studio. It's described as a realistic RPG in medieval Europe, open world sandbox with period accurate melee combat. The catchphrase they use is "Dungeons and no dragons."
Hey, that piqued my interest.
So they're basing it off of real historical Europe. It takes place in the year 1403. The old king has died and his brother has thrown the region into turmoil by making new alliances with a royalty that he shouldn't have. You're the son of a murdered blacksmith and you're trying to get revenge for the people that have been killed and protect the kingdom. The game allows you to play 3 unique play styles, like the direct approach, being a knight, being brute force, fighting your way through. You can also be a thief, use stealth to your advantage, steal stuff, backstab people, or you can play as a bard. And that's what really appeals to me as a D&D player who used to only play as a bard.
You love those bards.
Yep. It said you can play as a bard, and the clothing you wear will affect your charisma and your influence. You can go and convince people to get in battles and wars with each other to try and take down your enemies. So there's that. Some more details about it. There's a 4-layer clothing and armor system. So it's not just, I'm going to slap on this breastplate. It's what shirt am I wearing? What jerkin am I going to put on over the shirt? What breastplate am I going to put on? I'm going to have my, So it's pretty complex in that way. It's also going to have an eating and sleeping system.
Man,
I wonder how Brian feels about that.
I mean, yeah. I don't know if I like the content. Like for medieval Europe, it's not the most exciting to me, but Hear me out.
What is this?
Hear me out. But
I want to email the creators of this game and tell them that it's not appealing
look,
to you.
you all know that I am a sci-fi
Start from
guy.
scratch.
You all know that I'm a sci-fi guy. I tend to lean sci-fi more than I do fantasy,
Yep.
aka medieval. I don't dislike medieval games, but like I said, it could be good.
Okay. So you're going to be partaking in battles and castle sieges, sneaking into dungeons, assassinating people.
That sounds amazing.
They're going for a quality over quantity approach. So the game world's not going to be huge. It is open world, but it's a lot smaller than like Skyrim. But they're going for a really crafted experience, like the kind you get out of Witcher, a game like The Witcher. And the team is incredible as well. It's the design lead. It's the design lead for Mafia. They have a producer from the Arma series, graphics programmer from Forza Horizon, and a 3D artist from Crysis 3, just to name a few of their people. They had a goal of 300,000 British pounds. They're currently at 680 thousand British pounds, which translates to 1.11 million US dollars.
Yeah, they've over doubled their goal. So this thing, we're doing this on the 9th of February. It has 10 days left. It's already been funded. So you don't have to worry about it not getting made, because this thing is going to be made no matter what. You pledge your money, you get some of these rewards. It's guaranteed. Check it out. Go to Kickstarter, type in Kingdom Come Deliverance, and man, just look at the video that they have there. I know we've done a handful of games on Spotlight already.
Yep.
I think honestly, this one probably looks the best to me that we've seen so far.
I'm super excited about it.
It looks amazing, and like I said, it's already guaranteed to be going. They're just working on stretch goals right now. So the fact that there's still time to donate, look at it, throw in what you can. I really, really think it's going to be worth it.
Yep.
So, anything else to add?
No, that's awesome.
Hopefully Brian will change his mind about not liking medieval settings.
I didn't say I didn't like. I said I lean towards.
Yeah, Mark.
Mark, God!
Jeez.
Why do you always make fun of me, Brian?
I don't even
know what to say to that.
Nope.
Okay.
Okay. All right, then. Well, let's move forward. Let's get right into our review. We got one game this week.
Bum, bum, ba-da-da-da,
That's one of my
go higher.
pros.
Can't go that high.
That's one of my pros.
The music?
Yeah.
It's the same
Oh
as
my-
every other Zelda game?
It's not just the
whoa!
same.
Yeah, it is.
It's been remixed.
It is remixed from the
Yeah.
old Link to the Past.
You notice
I didn't
how,
even play with the music on.
I don't really care.
Brian.
I was watching Stripes.
Okay, Brian.
I really wasn't. I had the music on. I'm kidding.
Okay,
Music
good.
was great.
Not all the time, though. I really did. I was watching TV while I was doing it because it was just. I've never been. I know it's beloved by everybody. I've never been a huge fan of the Zelda music because every game has the same music.
Notice me not jumping at you and being so mad at you right now. That's cool.
Oh,
Because you know I'm right. That's why.
it's because you're supporting his arguments.
What?
What?
I don't know.
He's talking about the handheld stuff because I'm using the same stuff that you were saying. No, I completely understand. But this isn't one of your favorite games of all time either.
A Link to the Past
So-
is.
Yeah, but yeah. Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds for the 3DS, developed and published by Nintendo. Let's hop into some pros. What do you guys think?
2D puzzles.
Yeah, that was a great pro. The way they intricately constructed the puzzles where you're a painting on the wall and you have to navigate. That
Yeah.
was pretty damn.
It really
impressive.
did. It kind of wrinkled my brain a little bit, made me think about puzzles in a different way.
Yes.
Because it takes all your items you already have, and it's not like, it's almost like a mathematical term. It's
Honestly-
not like a linear increase in complexity. It's like a logarithmic.
Logarithmic.
Shh, I'm struggling right now. I need
I'm not
I need a
editing
cough
any of
drop.
this out. I think it's hilarious.
Please edit this out. You know what I'm saying, the people at home. You know what I'm saying.
You got this. You got this.
You know what I'm saying. It increased it.
There you go. It increased it. That's
Exponentially?
Mark's pro. It increased it.
Do you mean exponentially?
Yes, exponentially. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
But
Man.
I'm struggling today.
Yeah. So why not eat something while you're recording?
This is
That'll
not
help.
food.
Absolutely.
This isn't food. This is a cough drop.
Yes.
All right. Going on that though, the puzzles themselves I thought were a huge pro because I didn't have to use a guide at all in this game.
Yeah.
It was just difficult enough to where I really had to put some thought into it, but not too hard as to where I had to be like, oh my gosh, I gotta go look this up. I have no idea what I'm doing. Everything was doable. And I think that's, the hallmark of a great game, that you don't need help. And I feel like I've accomplished something because it was, it did make me rattle my brain a bit.
Yeah,
So.
I actually am on the opposite fence on that one. That actually was a pro or a con, kind of a pro-con.
You would rather have to look it up?
No.
That doesn't sound like Brian.
Explain. No,
Right?
let me explain.
That's not how the developer intended it.
We're still on pro, so I'll get into it in a minute. But I thought the format was great. That's a big pro for me. It had the somewhat of the Zelda format where you have 3 initial dungeons, and then it opens up into 7 more after that. I loved that. Felt great. I mean, the world was so... They did a great job of reinventing the world, but keeping it so nostalgic that you go, oh my god, I remember this.
Absolutely.
You're like, oh my god, I want to go. Like Low Rule was very similar to the Golden World.
Yeah, I really, if you played A Link to the Past, I mean, you'll feel right at home.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, you'll be like, hey, my house, all right, sweet. It's just right from the get-go. You'll recognize everything. It's great.
It was.
And I like the use of the lower screen being was it the upper screen or the lower screen?
The lower.
Lower, yeah, having the map.
Yep.
With the whole world showing you where you're at and everything. And honestly, like, it felt a little small at first. I was like, oh, that's it. But there's so much to do that you really don't even think about it. So.
I was also a big fan of the plot.
Yeah.
I don't know how much I can say about it without spoiling something, but it seems like the classic Zelda plot. Mm-hmm. And if you know what I mean, you know what I mean.
But it's not.
But at the end, there's a little bit of a twist. You see it coming, but still, it's a twist.
Definitely.
And it kind of puts it in a different context that made it really cool and fresh to me.
It was a very refreshing plot while staying very Zelda grounded. They did a masterful job of walking the line of paying homage to a great and beloved game and being just different enough to make it be like, oh, this is not just a retread. To me, some of the bosses that came back from this one, you're like, I remember him.
Yep.
It was just like they had some.
That's
new
how
ones.
I sounded.
They had some new ones, and I was like, when you get to a new boss, you make a sound like you're like like that,
just like that.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. Oh wow. But okay, well, I mean, do you guys have any other pros?
I have one that I can't decide on. What do you guys think about the Street Pass system?
I thought it was good. I mean, it's.
Did you guys actually get to do anything with it?
I did. I played
it like once or twice.
I got my butt destroyed by a guy that I got a pass from.
Oh, really?
Oh my god, his link was impressive. I like the fact that you can it rewards you for getting all the secrets.
Yeah.
He clearly got more than I did.
I fought one guy and I smoked him.
Nice.
I fought a guy who had every heart in armor that I didn't even know existed. It was the red armor.
No, I had blue when I beat it.
Yeah, exactly. He had the red armor. I mean, he had the golden sword. He had the he had the upgraded magic that just destroyed me. Yeah. Just a lot of stuff that I didn't ever get.
Interesting.
So I thought it was interesting.
There's really not much to it, though.
It didn't take anything away from the game.
No,
So I could see someone enjoying it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, that guy's strong. I want to fight him.
Yep.
Boom, done. That's
Shadow Link. They keep it grounded in Zelda lore.
Yeah. Okay, well then moving into cons, I'll talk about something that I thought was kind of a pro, but after talking to you guys a bit about it, I can totally see both sides of the coin on this. The fact that you can go into the dungeons in any order that you want to go to, I thought was a cool concept at first, but when I thought about it, yeah, that's definitely not really Zelda-ish. What was cool about some of the older Zelda games was going into a dungeon, getting an item, and then knowing that that's what you needed to do to complete the next dungeon that was coming up.
I like to call it the meta puzzle of Zelda games, where you have all these little puzzles, and then the overall meta puzzle is, okay, I got an item from a dungeon, I need to know what I need, where do I need to go for that? It took away that puzzle element. Oh, I'm just going to buy because I literally went in and rented all the things, and then I never died, so...
Exactly. That's exactly how I played it. You go in, there's a shop, and you can rent all the items right there. And if you die, the items go back, or you can buy them later on for a little bit more money.
Yep.
And they don't leave you when you die. But the fact that you have access to everything right off the bat, it's kind of like I don't want to say it cheapens it, but it kind of does in a way.
It does. That's exactly what I was going to say.
It cheapens it.
Like you find an item and it's like, oh, okay, whatever.
That's my biggest con as well, just because you lose the sense of achievement of earning the item.
I thought they did a good enough job in the dungeons keeping like I got a piece of ore or keep because my favorite part about Zelda is going into a dungeon and getting to that chest that it's an item.
Yep.
You're like item chest, love it. What is it? Oh, I got the power glove. Like that. To me was kind of like they did an okay job of keeping it that way, but I didn't like the fact that you didn't have to try to figure out what dungeon was available to you now. Like I got the bow and arrow. Where do I go? No, it's like I have every single weapon. I can just go wherever I want.
Absolutely.
It took away the meta puzzle of Zelda games, which is
Yep.
figuring out where to go next.
Yep. But okay, so what were you talking about before when I said that the puzzles in the game were just difficult enough to where you feel accomplished, but you didn't have to worry about looking anything up?
The dungeons were far too small for my tastes. I know a lot of people like that, but if you think about the old Zelda games, like the dreaded water temple in Zelda.
See, that right there makes me not want them bigger than that. You call it the dreaded water temple.
No, but I mean, these puzzles were like, or these dungeons were like 3 floors, and they were like 2 rooms. Like they were very small. I likened it to a sampling. It's like here's a sampling of Zelda. You're going and do this dungeon. It doesn't take very long. I mean, the later ones got a little bit more complex, but not very much bigger.
Honestly, though, I think it's perfect because, and I'm going to go back to this, because it was a handheld. I think that's how
Yes.
if it's on a console and it was
Sure.
like that, it would have been like, oh,
Very-
really? That was a little
Yeah.
anticlimactic.
I'm
The
with
fact
you.
that it's a
Point.
handheld does not make me expect something grand and massive.
Good point. I
So-
didn't think of that way.
Yeah, it's a great game to have just to pull out of your pocket and play for a while.
Yeah,
With the
you
level
can
of
you can
challenge
hop
there
in
is.
for like an hour and accomplish something.
Yep.
It really it fits that, just going in there, doing what you need to do, and hopping out. It was just a good game overall.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
My last con would be too easy. I didn't die until the last boss. The difficulty ramped up pretty harshly on that last boss. But Zelda games have been famous for some of the dungeon bosses being like tough, and this one didn't have any of them. I mean, they were all very, very easy. You had a lot of ways to get out of death, like more than you did in other Zelda games. But other than that, man, what a fun game! What an absolutely fun game!
it's a good little time killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. I mean, it just like I said, I think it's perfect for a handheld. Nice and short. Everything's not too difficult.
Yep.
You just it was just a good, solid game for what it was.
Agreed.
It's another star on the Zelda mantelpiece. You know?
Absolutely. And if you played A Link to the Past and liked it, that's just another bonus. So,
sure.
Anybody else? Pros, cons?
I was going to say the controls.
Yeah.
The way you couldn't use the D-pad to move around, you had to use the joystick.
My thumb got so tired after a while. Oh,
And it's just made me feel like I was less precise.
Yeah.
Because you're not really aiming in the game. You're still just shooting in the cardinal directions.
yeah.
So
absolutely.
why do I even have to use it?
Right.
But that was a small con.
I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, we talked about that,
Yeah.
quite a few times.
And this one, I'm not sure I have it as a con anymore after just thinking about it right now. But the magic meter, the way everything use the magic meter, the arrows, the bombs, whatever.
Yeah.
But then I started thinking about how it's a handheld game and it's not supposed to be as hardcore of an experience.
Exactly.
So I'm kind of okay with it now.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. Like, obviously, it's not Zelda tradition to have.
No, like you don't have a.
Yeah.
Bombs magic was a little weird to me at first. I was like, because
shooting
normally
your-
you have to go buy new ones and restock.
Exactly.
So I don't know. Yeah.
They did some deviations, and look, for people who are jumping into Zelda with this game, I mean, they did a great job of easing them into the Zelda experience. It's definitely it's a watered down Zelda game that's still. When I say that watered down, I mean it is in no way watered down story wise and content wise, but it is definitely a watered down version of the Zelda format.
Absolutely. It's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I mean, I highly recommend it. You got a 3DS, you're missing out if you don't pick it up.
Yeah.
It's a Marquis 3DS title. You need to have it if you have a 3DS.
Beautiful. Anything else? Anybody else? Got anything to say about it?
I think we've said all that needs to be said. I mean, go get it.
Cool.
Play
Link
it.
Between Worlds. Check it out. Faux show. All right, let's head into our top 5 for the week. Here we go. I'm going to let you guys go first with your absolutely insane and ridiculous number 5. We're going to be talking about, I guess I should probably say what we're talking about. We're doing our top 5 games from 2013. We waited a month to do with it just because we don't want to. We had a couple of games we wanted to catch up on, and to be honest, there's still a few games that we haven't played. Like I haven't played BioShock Infinite.
Yeah.
And Metal Gear Solid, that kind of stuff. There's a few games that just may have made the list had we played them, but out of what we've played, personally, this is our top 5. So again, we'll go into your guys' ridiculous,
Brian, you got a good number 5.
You do
insane
too, Mark.
number 5. Why don't you guys go ahead and
Mark,
say what's? I understand why it's Mark's number 5 because he doesn't play games at all.
Hey, no.
Oh, okay, good rebuttal there. Rebut
played-
McIntyre.
I played 38 games last year.
38 games you played.
How many did you finish?
I beat 13. However, hold on.
That's
Some of the
like-
games on my list are games like Civilization 5 where there's no real expectation to beat the game. So eliminating
so he's
those
counting games like Solitaire and Minesweeper.
No. Games like Civilization 5 and Minecraft. You don't beat those games. So if you're looking at only the games you beat, I beat 56% of the games I started.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, you got an F. But you know what? I think in the end, I'm going to high five
Even
you.
the guy who agrees with you says you got an F.
Well,
That's
he's the one that
awesome.
called me out earlier for it, so of course.
That's true. Yeah.
But it's an F, right? If we're going on the scale, then 56% is an F. Yeah?
Fair enough. I'll take the F.
F for freaking Mark needs to play more games.
I like Mark. And in fact, his number 5 endears me. You know what? This whole list that we did, Mark, it endears me to you.
What is you guys' number 5?
Go ahead, Mark. Do the honors, please.
Stanley Parable.
Ba-ba-ba-ba-da-ba. What a great
More
game.
like Stanley Terrible, am I right?
No.
just so we can get through this and give JJ less of exposure. It is also my top 5, so we'll just tag team it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We will tag
I
team
picked
Stanley.
the Stanley Parable as my number 5 because I felt like it was a game that really pushed the medium forward. One sentence in and he's chipped me.
Actually, I meant to do it sooner than that.
I agree with you, Mark. The Stanley Parable is a brilliant satirical. What's the word I'm looking for? Help me out.
Deconstruction.
Yes, deconstruction of video games and narrative in video games, which is what we talk about. We talk about narrative in video
Exactly.
games. So I feel like it was very apropos. And not to mention, I only played 7 games that were released in 2013. So honestly, it wouldn't be very hard to make my top 5. So,
And I only played 6, and Nino couldn't get into it. Wasn't going to be on my top 5.
Nino couldn't get into it.
All right. That was insightful and informative.
You're welcome.
And my number 5 is Pokemon.
Yeah.
Pokemon!
What? Oh, wait. I'm sorry. 8 games, because Pokemon I did play in 2013.
Pokemon X and Y was my number 5. You know what? Great entry into the series. I think it's even better for people who haven't played any other games because it definitely dumbs it down and makes it a lot easier. It just does a lot of things right. And Pokemon has consistently brought you that, with each game that comes out, each new generation comes out, it has that thing of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And this one does not disappoint. I loved the game. It was good. Good stuff. I think we all liked it, right?
I enjoyed it, yep.
Yeah. So, that's my number 5. Pokemon X and Y. Brian, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is Batman Arkham Origins. I actually just recently beat this game over the last week, so I'm glad gave us a little time, because Hidden Gem, people didn't like this game, or, I won't say that. It got lukewarm reviews.
I think big fans of the other two
Yeah.
weren't really big on it.
This was made by a different studio, right?
No, it was still made by Rocksteady, I thought. A different studio in Rocksteady. But
I'm not even going to look it up,
But
to be
yeah,
honest.
I thought it was. But anyway, it felt just like I didn't see a difference in the games. Like, maybe they got knocked for being too similar, but the story was excellent. It had excellent characters. They always do a good job. This series always does a good job of bringing those comic book characters into their own art direction. I loved it. It had Bane, it had your Joker, it had, and I just want to point out that they didn't have Mark Hamill to do the Joker in this one, but Troy Baker stepped in, and I couldn't tell.
Wow.
Which was
good.
amazing, and to keep. You could tell little differences, but man, he did a great Joker.
Did you see the news that they're making a WB cartoon series based on
the Arkham
the
series?
Arkham series?
Yeah, I did.
That's crazy.
It was the whole series is a fantastic series if you are not only a fan of video games but also a fan of the Batman comics.
All right. Mark, number 4.
My number 4 is The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds.
Oh,
And you just heard why.
pretty much.
We don't need to talk too much
Yep.
about it. Yep. All right, so Mark's number 4, Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds. My number 4 is Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn.
Okay, I played 9 games because this is also one that.
Oh, I played 7 games.
Yep,
Oh my gosh.
good game.
It was, and for being an MMO, I thought the single player experience within it was excellent. If it was just the MMO and it just felt like every other MMO, I probably wouldn't have picked it. But I liked the story so much, and I liked going through, the from start to finish. The experience was just great for me, and again, maybe it's another one of those just the fanboy in me talking.
No,
but I loved it.
I loved it. The what did it in for me wasn't it wasn't even its own fault. It was too. This is gonna sound weird. The reason that I fell out of favor with Final Fantasy 14 because I loved it at first. It was too similar to WoW, so it's not even its own fault. I got burnt out on WoW and it felt like another WoW clone. And I was like, the single player experience was definitely a plus, but I was like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't run around and do collection quests and kill. And so it wasn't really its own fault. I'm MMO burnt out.
I completely understand.
Yep. But solid choice, sir.
All right, with that, we'll go into our number 3.
Yeah.
Brian and I, Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds.
You guys know why we loved it.
Yep, absolutely. Mark, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Grand Theft Auto 5.
Ooh, one I have
And
not
JJ
played.
is going to say something derisive about it.
No, not at all. I thought about putting it on my
Okay.
list, to be honest.
It's in the order.
It's a great game.
I enjoyed the game immensely.
Yeah.
Great characters, great plot, so much fun.
Yep. The only reason I didn't put it on is because it's just like, aside from the story and the characters, which is what made it great, the gameplay and, everything else.
Yeah.
You've played one Grand Theft Auto, you've played them all,
That's true.
to be honest. So, and that's the main reason I didn't put it on my list. But as far as from a story standpoint and the characters themselves and, what happens, really, really solid.
I think the narrative structure really excites me for the future of games because it was almost like the next-gen version of Suikoden 3's Trinity Sight system.
Very cool.
Yeah, but I wasn't a fan of the way they did it.
Really?
To be honest, no. I didn't think it needed to be in there. I thought it felt tacked on. They could have easily just done it from one person's viewpoint, and it would have been fine, in my opinion. I think it's cool. I thought it was neat, but beyond neat, I wasn't a huge fan.
And I never played it yet, so I haven't played it yet. So
yeah, it's nothing to write home about, but it's a cool little feature.
cool.
But all the stories that come together, and it's a beautifully written game. What was that? 3?
Yes, sir.
Number 2, Brian.
My number 2 is a little gem I like to call BioShock Infinite. Any game that can make me sit in my chair for 10 minutes deep in thought when the credits are rolling is a good game. I immediately, when I got done with that game, went to as many spoiler casts as I could to get everybody else's opinions on it and just hear their discussions and see who was like-minded with me. There was a lot of room for interpretation with that ending, which I loved. I love when a lot of people don't like it, but I love when endings give you the ability to say, no, it went this way, or no, it went this way, or no, it went this way, not just this is how it went. And that was BioShock Infinite for me. That game was a masterpiece as far as writing.
Cool. Yeah, I'll get into it eventually. That wasn't on my list, obviously, because I haven't played it yet. So, Mark, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is The Last of Us, which is both of yours. No spoilers. So I shouldn't have said that.
Really?
Dang it, Mark!
Uh-huh.
This
Yeah?
this was an exceptional
This is
game.
how much Mark struggles for things to say. If he's not reading something, he's like, I have that in common with you
I need
guys
to
because
read
it's
it,
your number
man.
one.
I need to read it.
I know.
I don't know, man.
Tell us why Last of Us is your number 2.
It was very logarithmic.
Logarithmic.
I'm just kidding. I'm making fun of myself now.
Mark, it was a sequence of numbers?
It was an excellent game. It was a really cool spin on the whole zombie apocalypse scenario. It's just not the same zombie apocalypse that you're used to seeing.
Yep.
It's got that, After Us vibe to it, which is, you got the overgrown city, what happens after people are gone.
Yep.
Which is nature takes it back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got some really interesting philosophical moral implications that I can't talk about.
Definitely.
But we kind of hinted about last episode.
Definitely.
It was frustrating though, so I didn't put it on my number one spot.
Well, I mean, we'll just go ahead and mention it. Obviously, like Mark just said, that's Brian and I's number one. Last of Us, game of the year for both of us. Fantastic. I think you're right as far as it's not a typical like zombie game.
Right.
You know, when you look at the previews and stuff, that's kind of how it's made out, but it's really not. It's very the creatures and just what you come across in there. It's not typical at all of what you would think of as a zombie game. Everything is very, very unique, and it's definitely its own flavor, and it's terrifying at points, and it makes you think that. I mean, the review that we did.
And I didn't think a game, when I played BioShock Infinite, I penciled it in as game of the year. Actually, I penned it in. I didn't think a game would come along and dethrone it. I didn't. I was like, there's nothing that's going to beat that. And I will say that The Last of Us barely did beat it, but the fact that it toppled the game like BioShock Infinite for me was quite impressive to me for a game to not simultaneously knock off a game as well written as BioShock Infinite and be as well written as The Last of Us was. I mean,
absolutely.
A complete and utter breakdown of human nature and society, and how it did a great job of saying what's living if you can't have things that are basically saying you got to be selfish in order to enjoy life, but at the same time, that could be the downfall of humanity.
Yes.
There's a huge, and like I said, the ending, how it ended, just like BioShock Infinite, you're like, oh.
Yep.
Like,
yeah,
what?
It really is just it's a mind screw.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot believe he just did that, but I kind of can believe
You're like, I know why he
and
did that, but why did he do that? But I know why I would do that, but I don't know if I would do that.
Yep. So, that's our number one. Yeah. I just, since you were talking about that, I figured we'd throw it in there.
Yeah.
My number two, though, is Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch. I know Brian hasn't played it yet.
Plan to.
Mark couldn't get into it.
Nino apparently couldn't get into it.
But you have to admit, the visuals.
Oh yeah,
absolutely gorgeous.
Yep.
Honestly, like, I mean, there are cutscenes and there are times when you're playing the game. It's very hard to tell the difference in this. It's just so beautiful. Done by studio. Is it pronounced Ghibli or Ghibli?
I think it's Ghibli.
Okay, well, you know who we're talking about.
Yep.
But I mean, the art style immediately right when you start playing is recognizable, and it is just gorgeous to look at. The story, nothing to write home about, nothing spectacular. Gameplay, a lot like Pokemon, but you do have a party of people, and it's like an amped up version of Pokemon, to be honest with you. The monster collecting and everything like that. But you having the full party of active people in your group is very, very cool. And I very much enjoyed it. I haven't beaten it yet, and I plan to as soon as Brian starts playing it. But yeah, that's my number two. Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch. Again, that's our number one was Last of Us. So, Mark, what's your number one, sir?
My number one is BioShock Infinite. High five. So there are 3 games that really struck me that I played last year. 2 of them actually came out last year. That was Last of Us and BioShock Infinite. And the third one was actually the previous year it came out, the first season of The Walking Dead.
Yep.
Because all 3 of these games were games that gave you a companion, but they weren't like how games had done in the past, where you had escort missions that were frustrating.
It didn't feel like a really bad escort quest.
Yeah. It was characters that were so well written and so well scripted that you became attached to them, almost like they were real people. And BioShock Infinite really, I mean, there were parts of that game that were so anti-game almost, so not gamified.
Yes.
It just felt like you were really experiencing something unlike a lot of other games. You didn't feel like you were playing a game in certain scenarios.
I know what you're talking about.
Like when you get to the beach for the first time.
Yep. Where you just sit there and stare and you're like, wow, you get goosebumps. I got goosebumps.
Yeah. It really gives me hope that we're getting to a point where the lines disappear and we stop seeing a game and we start just seeing experiences.
Yep.
There are some issues out of the gameplay, like the fact that you just have infinite ammo essentially, and there's no death. But throwing that all aside, I'm more interested in the plot, and the plot sucked me in so much that...
But they had an absolutely mind-blowingly way to explain why there was no death in the game.
Right. Yeah.
It was like when I figured it out, I was like, "Oh my god, that's awesome!" Like it's really ridiculous, but it's completely within the realm of
Star Ocean ridiculous?
No, it's not like it doesn't make you go, ugh. It makes you go, wow. Like there is a point in the story where some people are. Mark will know what I'm talking about. They're wearing. There's two people in the story that are kind of like constantly showing up, and they're wearing a sign that has like check marks on their person, and they turn around and you see like hundreds. And you're like, and you figure out, oh my god. I know why I'm ending up when I die. Why I'm ending up here, at this point in the story. It's amazing. The game is amazing. That Mark knows what I'm talking about. I know that was just gibberish to you, JJ, but people who played it,
sure,
yeah, and they figured out what the death is actually doing. Then you know.
I gotta say, like, okay, so that's our top 5 right there for the year.
Yeah.
But I gotta say that's kind of a testament to where gaming is coming from. We're all three of us. I would say. I would venture to guess that our games of choice are probably going to be RPG/adventures, right?
Sure.
Yep.
That just shows you. I know a lot of our listeners are RPG fans as well.
Mm-hmm.
I would say for the most part they probably are. Being RPG fans ourselves, that's a testament to how good these games are. Last of Us, BioShock Infinite. Check them out if you really haven't. If you've got a PS3, you're definitely missing out on The Last of Us if you have not played it yet. Treat yourself. Definitely check it out. From a story standpoint, it's unbelievable. It'll give you goosebumps all the way through. BioShock Infinite, I haven't played it, but I mean these guys talk about it constantly. So it's definitely one that I will, get into for sure, just because of the great things I've heard about it. So definitely check them out. So Last of Us, BioShock Infinite, both games for sure. Even if you're an RPG fan, they're gonna ring that bell for you.
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
All right then. Why don't we got an email this week from our buddy Isaac.
Isaac.
Oh, hey,
Hey.
What was that?
we both had the same thought.
Isaac. Yeah.
But I don't even. Okay, all right.
Mr. Isaacson.
Oh man. He says, Mark's attitude towards Suikoden is reflective of my own attitude towards Xenoblade Chronicles. In a previous episode, when one of you, I forget, complained about the voice acting, that would be me.
I egged you on, so it might have been me.
I'm the one that complained about it.
I know, but I bring it up and remind you.
Well, it's all right. He says, I almost had an aneurysm when you all talked about how it was too British. I want to make something clear, because I'll finish this email, but I want to make something clear. It's not because it was too British, because British people doesn't mean soccer fan. That's not what it means at all. I think the British accent is spectacular, and I would love to just talk like that and not, sound like a complete idiot when I'm trying to do it. The accents in this game, though, sound like they are at a sports bar cheering on a soccer team.
It's Cockney.
And that's why I was like, oh my gosh, just shut up. Like, it was way too... If it was one character, fine, no problem. But the fact that every single character sounded the exact same to me, I was just like, oh my god. And it really didn't bother me to the point where I hated the game. I don't want it to sound like that, because apparently there's a few people who are like, JJ, you're an idiot for
the whole
feeling this
internet
way.
is saying that.
But I really I did not hate the game in any way, shape, or form. That's not why I haven't finished it. The reason I have not finished it is because there's so much to do. And the fact that there's so many side quests in there.
It's overwhelming.
If I've got a side quest log that says this needs to be done, even if I can skip it, it's still sitting there and it's still looking at me going, you haven't finished me yet. I'm still sitting here. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll do that first and then I'll move on with the story. And every single side quest was fetch quest, kill task, save somebody, just normal cookie cutter stuff, which is fine. But when you're doing that repeatedly for so long, it's just like, all right, I'll come back to this later. And I just didn't yet.
Right.
But I promise we will. I have decided we are going to do, I'll finish his email and then I'll talk about that. But he says, I feel as a listener that I must lay down the proverbial gauntlet and challenge you all to review Xenoblade, even if you all do not own it. Also, during said review, I want you all to talk about the end with spoilers, because you can't talk about Xenoblade without spoiling it. I hope you all consider this, because I am a seasoned gamer, and I feel that Xenoblade is the best game I've ever played, even over games such as Final Fantasy VII and others. I really hope you consider it. He also suggests we do a top 5 best and worst Final Fantasy list, which we'll do that eventually, but that'll be part of something else that we have planned for the distant future. Well, I have planned. You guys probably have no idea what I'm talking about.
No idea what's going on.
So he says he likes to listen to our show while he's like laboring away at dishes or something.
It's a good way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me just can I address Isaac?
Sure.
Isaac, my brother and you are like basically of the same mind frame. My brother got done with Xenoblade Chronicles and immediately let me know that it was his favorite RPG of all time. I watched a few cutscenes of it, and it was, for a Wii game, amazing. It had some of the best looking cutscenes I've seen on a Wii, and he recommended it so much to me that on Black Friday this year, GameStop was having the Metroid trilogy in that game marked down to $35. So I got myself a copy of Xenoblade Chronicles for $35, and if you know how much that's going for right now, I stole it, basically.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm very excited to get into that. I'm wanting to play through Xenosaga and Xeno Gears before I play it. I know that doesn't matter, but I kind of want to get myself worked into a frenzy before I get to Xenoblade. But I'm ready to play it. I am.
I loved what I played so far, but what I was going to say is we're definitely going to do it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to leave it up to you when we do it. I don't think Mark's going to probably, unless he wants to buy a Wii. And
I have a Wii.
You going to buy the game?
It's like $100.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm going to, it'll pretty much be me and you.
Yeah.
I think. So I'm going to leave it up to you when you want to do it.
My brother's been begging me. I might actually skip Xenosaga and just go right to Xenoblade and then come back to Xenosaga because Kyle has been like, you got to play Xenoblade. You got to play Xenoblade. And I want to.
It'll be within the next few months.
Yep, absolutely.
So we'll just look for that. I promise we're going to get to it. Believe me, I want to play it too. It was a little overwhelming because I was just normally a game like that. I really have to like think about it and be like, all right, I'm going to jump into this and I'm going to go head first and just do it. That was just like, this game was cool. I'll play it. And I didn't realize like how heavy it was going to be. It's a heavy game just to
you got to be
think
in the
about
mindset.
casually. Yeah, absolutely. Which, is the case with a lot of JRPGs, to be honest
Absolutely.
with you. Bi-weekly question. What brings you to a new console? Exclusives, price, power, something else? We got a few responses on Facebook here. Zach says hardware and specs, exclusives, loyalty, potential of the console. I agree for the most part. Potential is kind of
Potential is too much of a subjective.
Yeah, because every system's got great potential.
Yeah, exactly.
At one point, people thought the Ouya had potential.
Yeah, I would also say loyalty is extremely low on mine. I don't really give a crap. I don't put my emotions into. I own a PlayStation, so I'm better than you. Like I don't.
I don't know though. Like loyalty's big on my list, which is why I keep buying Nintendo consoles. I've been with Nintendo for so long. They have a new one, and I'm like, you know what? I've consistently been happy with them, even at their lowest points. There have been things that have kept me there, so I feel bad if I don't. You know what I mean? I think, especially in the case of Nintendo, loyalty is a big issue. Hardware and specs, obviously, you want what looks good and what feels good. So Isaac says exclusives that look good, such as X on the Wii U, or
that right there.
Last Story, Pandora's Tower on the Wii. I haven't played Pandora's Tower. I wonder if that's Isaac. Shoot us another email. Is it good? Tell us.
Yeah,
let us know. Because I'm wondering.
And X is what's going to be selling a Wii U for me. When that comes out, I will be buying a Wii U.
It looks pretty.
I don't even care if that's the only
good
game I ever get on the Wii U. That is one I am for sure getting. Mechs, are you kidding me? Love it.
Love it.
I love mechs.
Mark, what brings you to a new console?
Hate to say it, but there is a bit of misplaced loyalty involved. I don't really have a good reason for why I'm kind of loyal to Microsoft. Maybe it's because, I guess the Xbox was the first console I bought with one of my own paychecks. So it was the first one that really felt like it was mine.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong.
I feel more at home with Microsoft.
I'm not judging.
But I can also see, like, why wouldn't I buy the PlayStation for such a better value than Xbox? But I think it's a personal choice.
There's rumors of a cheaper Xbox One coming out.
Oh, really?
Minus the Kinect, maybe?
Minus a disk drive.
Oh, we'll see about that.
Just get rid of the
How
Kinect.
big's the hard drive
God.
gonna be?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't want the Kinect. I don't want it.
But they do.
Yeah, minus the disk drive. So it kind of seems like they might backpedal. If this is true, this is not confirmed as far as I know.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. But
Wouldn't surprise me. Would not surprise me in the least.
Yeah.
Well, they're going there eventually.
Well, there's always
someday.
the 360.
I have one.
But I see where you're coming from, though.
Yeah, I'm not judging you, Mark. I'm just judging you silently.
That is judging.
Oh, okay. I'm not outwardly judging you.
Okay, there you go.
I think for me, like, I mean, this is going to sound dumb, but I go with, what's going to have the best. I like single player games, so I go with what's going to have the best single player experience. For me, that's been PlayStation so far.
Mm-hmm.
They tend to have all the great RPGs, and a lot of the ones that are on PlayStation are all, or that are on Xbox are also coming out for PlayStation. So it's not really, if I had gone Xbox 360 last gen, at first, I've got them both now, but if I had gone that way at first, I would have been like, oh my gosh, I'm missing so freaking many RPGs.
Yeah.
All I have is Halo and Forza. Sweet.
And Lost Odyssey.
And
Lost Odyssey.
There's a few, and Lost Odyssey is fantastic, but for the most part, you want RPGs and adventures, you go PS3.
Yeah.
Hands down. That's kind of what I look for, though. It's just what's going to cater to me games-wise. And I've just had a good relationship with Sony over the past few years. So,
and for me, I mean, I'm going to own all three at some point.
Yeah, and that's how I feel.
It's just
Exactly.
like, which one am I getting first?
But
exactly.
But I'm going to sound really shallow, but the girl's got to look good and run well. I want the most power. I'm a PC gamer at heart, and so
High five.
I want. And I told this to the guys. I try to play the game on the system that will run it best, or at least run it to its 100% capacity. So if you give me a game and you say you have these 4 options to play this game on, I will say which game runs it at its best or at maximum capacity. And that's PlayStation 4 right now is the most powerful machine. So I gravitate towards that because cross-platform, take out my love for Halo because that's a big part of why I want an Xbox One. But when 2 systems come out and they say, hey, here's 2 cross-platform games, I'm going to say, oh, which one's going to run it better?
Definitely.
And so that's
Makes
where I lean. I mean,
Yep.
typically I'm always buying those games on Steam because my computer outruns everything.
Yep.
But if it's like a game like, hey, Final Fantasy or Metal Gear Solid that doesn't come out on the computer, I'm going to say which system does it run better on, and I'll get that system.
For sure. All right, next episode we're going to be asking, when playing through games, do you try to devote all your attention to just one at a time, or do you play multiple games and just switch around? Or do you have like an upstairs game, a downstairs game,
Yeah,
and a living room
do
game?
you
like
have
Brian does?
segments of games? you gotta have the ADD mind going, man. Like, I want to play this, I want to play this, I want to play this.
Yeah.
What's funny is I don't ever mix up the plot, which is weird. You'd think like if I'm playing 3 games at once, I'd be like, oh yeah, the plots would call. They don't. I just know where I'm going.
Well,
Yo, that's a good answer, Mark. Absolutely.
I watched
rebut that.
I watched like 10
Rebut
TV shows.
McIntyre.
I watched 10 TV shows. I don't think one character's in another show. Then
Right.
That's
So
true.
So yeah, exactly. So there.
we have minds.
Yeah,
that
but
kind
TV
of
shows
work.
you're not focused on battle mechanics and
That's fair enough.
like where places are on a map and that kind of stuff.
If I'm watching Game of Thrones, I am.
That's
I try to
true enough.
I try to mix it up too. Like I don't.
Well, next episode we'll get into
yeah,
it.
we will. We'll really make fun of me next episode
So, well, yeah, because
because I won't be here. Can't defend.
nope. I guess that's it for this
Wow.
time. Email us frozennorthpodcast@gmail.com. Shoot us top 5 suggestions,
Tell JJ how much you love me.
bi-weekly question suggestions. Just want to talk about games.
Tell JJ
Please.
to tell Mark how much you love me. I mean, all those are options.
I know. Sometimes I'll take a day or 2 to respond, but I promise I will respond when I get the chance. Sorry for the delay, Isaac. Yeah, definitely join the discussion on Facebook, facebook.com/thefrozennorth, Twitter @FNPodcast. Mark has been keeping up on there.
Woo!
Check out our blog at frozennorthpodcast.blogspot.com and subscribe to us. Rate us on iTunes. Tell us what you like. Tell
Yeah.
us what you don't like. Just give us feedback. That's all we want. Feedback. Talk to us about games.
Feed me.
Oh,
back.
and make sure to email us about how mad you are that Brian doesn't like fantasy settings.
Absolutely.
I don't not like them, but honestly, fantasy settings. Mm-hmm. That's kind of how I feel. Fantasy settings, like,
Which are the best settings anywhere. So.
No, that's
Next episode, we're going to be talking about our top 5 sandbox games. So, should be a good one. And
Brian's going to be gone for it.
I'll send in my top 5 so you can read it post.
I encourage you all to look for a special treat in the next episode as well. The two guys that I'm looking at right now have no idea what I'm talking about.
What does that mean?
But it's in my head, and I know what I'm talking about.
I'm so excited.
Are you giving us
Sweet.
money next week?
Nope.
I'm so
Yes,
excited.
I'm giving you money next week. Brian won't be here, though. So
I'm so not
he doesn't get me.
excited. I will.
I'm
I will
okay with
skip
that.
work. No, I won't. I won't skip
It's
work.
going to be hilarious. With that, this is Frozen North signing off. My name is JJ.
My name is Mark.
My name is Brian.
Keep on gaming.
This song was made available via the Creative Commons Attribution License. The song, Somewhere in the Stars, was written and produced by SoundCloud user _TWC.